taken the complacent way out. Because the other side had done nothing publicly on robotics, it had been tempting to sit back smugly and be comfortable in the assurance of superiority. Why hadn't it seemed possible, even likely, that they were hiding superior cards, a trump hand, for the proper time? Lasolo said shakily, "What do we do?" It was obvious that the same line of thought had carried the same conviction to him. "Do?" parroted Lin. It was hard to think right now of anything but of the complete horror that came with conviction. There were 10 humanoid robots somewhere in the United States, each one carrying a fragment of a TC bomb. TC, the race for sheer horror and bomb-ery, had ended there. TC. Total conversion. The sun was no longer a synonym one could use. Total conversion made the sun a penny candle. 10 humanoids, each completely harmless in separation, could, by the simple act of coming together, exceed critical mass and... Lin rose to his feet heavily, the dark paunches under his eyes, which ordinarily lent his ugly face a look of savage foreboding, more prominent than ever. It's going to be up to us to figure out ways and means of telling a humanoid from a human, and then finding the humanoids. "How quickly?" muttered Laszlo. "Not later than 5 minutes before they get together," barked Lin. "And I don't know when that will be." Breckenridge nodded. "I'm glad you're with us now, sir. I'm to bring you back to Washington for conference, you know." Lin raised his eyebrows. "All right." He wondered if, had he delayed longer in being convinced, he might not have been replaced forthwith, if some other chief of the Bureau of Robotics might not be conferring in Washington. He suddenly wished earnestly that exactly that had come to pass. The first presidential assistant was there, the Secretary of Science, the Secretary of Security, Lin himself, and Breckenridge. 5 of them, sitting about a table in the dungeons of an underground fortress near Washington. Presidential Assistant Jeffries was an impressive man, handsome in a white-haired and just a trifle jowly fashion. Solid, thoughtful, and as unobtrusive politically as a presidential assistant ought to be. He spoke incisively. "There are 3 questions that face us as I see it. First, when are the humanoids going to get together? Second, where are they going to get together? Third, how do we stop them before they get together?" Secretary of Science Amberlead nodded convulsively at that. He had been Dean of Northwestern Engineering before his appointment. He was thin, sharp-featured, and noticeably edgy. His forefinger traced slow circles on the table. "As far as when they'll get together," he said, "I suppose it's definite that it won't be for some time." "Why do you say that?" asked Lin sharply. "They've been in the U.S. at least a month already, so security says." Lin turned automatically to look at Breckenridge, and Secretary of Security McAllister intercepted the glance. McAllister said, "The information is reliable. Don't let Breckenridge's apparent youth fool you, Dr. Lin. That's part of his value to us. Actually, he's 34 and has been with the department for 10 years. He has been in Moscow for nearly a year, and without him, none of this terrible danger would be known to us. As it is, we have most of the details." "Not the crucial ones," said Lin. McAllister of Security smiled frostily. His heavy chin and close-set eyes were well known to the public, but almost nothing about him was. He said, "We are all finitely human, Dr. Lin. Agent Breckenridge has done a great deal." Presidential Assistant Jeffries cut in. "Let us say we have a certain amount of time. If action at the instant were necessary, it would have happened before this. It seems likely that they are waiting for a specific time. If we knew the place, perhaps the time would become self-evident. If they are going to TC a target, they will want to cripple us as much as possible,